What if the one thing that could quietly restore your energy, your confidence, and your blood flow wasn't locked inside a prescription bottle, but inside a handful of nuts? If you're over 60 and feel like something's fading down there, I want you to listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you might be the most important truth you've never heard. For millions of men, changes in performance come slowly, then all at once. First, it's a little more effort in the bedroom. Then it's waking up without morning wood. Then it's a quiet, heavy sense of something missing, like a part of yourself has drifted away. You might brush it off as aging or stress or just not being in the mood. But here's the part that no one talks about. These small changes are often the very first signs that your body is running low on something essential. Not just testosterone, not just desire, but blood flow, the engine that powers everything. Most men try to fix this with pills or quick solutions. Some give up entirely, but few realize that nature already gave us a daily system reset, one that rebuilds nitric oxide, protects the arteries that lead down there, and gently reawakens your body's ability to respond. And it doesn't come from complicated supplements or expensive treatments. It comes from 9 powerful nuts, ordinary, affordable, and widely available, each one working in a different way to support circulation, hormones, and the quiet strength men often feel slipping away. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How could something so simple make such a difference? But here's the catch. It's not just about what you eat. It's about how you eat it, when, how often, and how to combine them in a way your body actually responds to. That's why in this video, we're not just going to list the 9 best nuts for circulation. We're going to give you a complete 7-day plan, a daily guide, meal by meal, showing exactly what to eat, when to eat it, and how to make it part of a rhythm that restores not just your function, but your confidence, your clarity, and your connection to yourself and your partner. Each day will build on the last. Each nut has a purpose. And by the end of this video, you'll have a simple plan that has helped hundreds of my own patients, men over 60 who once felt invisible, tired, or disconnected, feel like themselves again. So if you've ever asked yourself, why is this happening to me? Is there still time to turn it around? Can I really feel that spark again without medication? Stay with me, because you're about to learn that the answer is yes, and it starts with a simple handful of food and a choice you make every morning. Let's begin. My name is Dr. Lily Anderson. I'm a board-certified nutritionist and sexual health specialist. For over 25 years, I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and even into their 80s, helping them restore blood flow, rebalance hormones, and regain the quiet confidence that so many believed was lost to time. And through all these years, one truth has stood out more than anything else. The male body never forgets how to be strong. It just needs the right support. You see, the decline most men feel, the softness, the slowness, the distance from desire, it doesn't come from aging alone. It comes from missing nutrients, poor circulation, and years of silent wear and tear on your arteries and hormone pathways. But here's the hope. When you give your body what it needs, it responds. That's what I've seen over and over again. And it's why I created this 7-day nut boost plan. This is not a diet. It's not a supplement gimmick. And it's certainly not about chasing your 20s. This is a simple, structured guide to help men over 60 restore what matters most: circulation, testosterone, vitality, all starting with a few minutes each morning and a handful of powerful foods. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a full 7-day plan, one day at a time. I'll show you exactly what to eat, when to eat it, and why it works, using clear science, real stories from men I've treated, and the kind of practical steps you can actually stick with. By the end, you'll not only understand what your body has been missing, you'll know how to give it back in a way that feels natural, steady, and real. Let's begin. Day 1. Day 1. The king of circulation. Walnuts in the morning. We begin your journey with one of nature's most powerful allies for male circulation, the walnut. Start your morning tomorrow with a small handful of raw walnuts, around 5 to 7 pieces. You can eat them alone, or better yet, add them to your oatmeal or plain Greek yogurt. Why walnuts? Because they are one of the richest sources of L-arginine, the amino acid your body uses to create nitric oxide. This is the very molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open, allowing blood to flow freely where it matters most. As men age, nitric oxide levels can drop by 50% or more. That's one reason many older men experience slower blood flow, lower sensitivity, or difficulty achieving a strong erection. Walnuts help replenish the raw material your body needs to restore this system. But that's not all. Walnuts are also packed with omega-3 fatty acids. These not only support heart health, but they also keep the walls of your arteries flexible, especially the small ones that lead to your pelvic area. I've seen countless patients start their day with walnuts for just 1 week, and they begin to feel something shift. Lighter steps, better circulation, and for some, a return of morning wood they hadn't experienced in years. So don't underestimate this simple start. Day 1 is all about giving your body its most basic building block, the ability to open the blood highways that fuel your vitality. Tomorrow, we'll focus on rebuilding testosterone. But for today, let your morning start with a handful of hope. Day 2. Almonds. Fuel for testosterone and inner strength. Today we turn to a nut that works deeper, not just in your circulation, but in your hormones. Almonds. Just 10 to 12 raw almonds in the morning, either with your breakfast or as a mid-morning snack, can begin restoring the quiet strength many men feel fading after 60. Why almonds? Because they're rich in zinc and magnesium, 2 minerals essential for testosterone production. Without them, your body cannot build or balance this critical hormone. And testosterone isn't just about libido. It's about energy, focus, muscle strength, and even the steadiness of your mood. Many men don't realize that low testosterone doesn't show up as dramatic symptoms. It sneaks in as fatigue, irritability, a quiet disconnection from your partner, or a shrinking sense of confidence. Almonds also contain healthy fats that stabilize your hormone levels, and vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that protects your reproductive system from oxidative stress. One patient of mine, a retired school principal named Tom, told me, "I didn't feel like myself anymore. I was just moving through the day." We added almonds to his morning routine, along with a few other small changes. By week 3, he felt more present, more motivated, and more connected to his wife than he had in years. It wasn't a miracle. It was nutrition, done with intention. Today, give your body that fuel. Let almonds remind your system that strength is not something you've lost. It's something you can rebuild. Day 3. Pistachios. The 7-day game changer. Now we shift from slow, steady restoration to one nut that delivers fast, visible results for many men, pistachios. Studies have shown that just 1 handful of pistachios per day, around 30 grams, can improve erection strength and sexual satisfaction in as little as 7 days. That's why we bring pistachios in on day 3. This green, vibrant nut is rich in L-arginine, another nitric oxide booster. But what makes pistachios special is the combination: L-arginine, antioxidants, and heart-healthy fats, all in one small shell. Together, they relax blood vessels, reduce LDL cholesterol, and improve circulation throughout the body, including where you need it most. I remember a patient named Luis. He was 67, quiet, and a bit skeptical when we started, but he committed to the plan. Pistachios became his afternoon snack. 7 days later, he returned to my office with a slight smile and said, "Something's happening," and my wife noticed too. That's what this journey is about, not just restoring performance, but restoring connection. So today, swap your usual snack for pistachios. Make it a ritual. Because sometimes a single handful holds the power to change your week and your self-image. Day 4, Brazil nuts, a tiny dose of testosterone. Revival Day 4 is not about quantity, it's about precision. Today we introduce Brazil nuts, but just 1 or 2. Why so little? Because Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium, a trace mineral that plays a massive role in testosterone production. Just 2 Brazil nuts provide more than 100% of your daily selenium needs. That's why we don't overdo it. More is not better with selenium. Too much can become toxic. But the right dose? It's like giving your body the missing spark plug. I've seen men with low testosterone, chronic fatigue, and loss of libido feel a real shift after simply adding Brazil nuts to their routine. Carefully, consistently, and always with respect for the dose. One man, John, age 71, had nearly given up. But after 30 days of 1 Brazil nut per morning plus almonds and pistachios, he reported feeling steadier, warmer, like something inside was turning back on. If you felt like your hormones have gone silent, maybe they haven't. Maybe they're just waiting for the raw material to speak again. Today, let that voice return, gently, powerfully, with just 2 Brazil nuts and a promise to listen to your body. Day 5, cashews, the blood pressure whisperer. On day 5, we turn to something most people overlook, blood pressure. You see, many men over 60 don't realize that even mildly elevated blood pressure can tighten the blood vessels, restricting the exact flow you need for healthy erections and steady energy. That's why today's nut, cashews, is so important. Cashews are rich in magnesium, a mineral that helps relax blood vessels, reduce internal tension, and support smooth circulation. Think of magnesium like a gentle hand on your arteries saying, "It's okay, you can open up now." Just a small handful, about 10 to 15 cashews, can begin shifting the tone of your vascular system over time. But there's more. Cashews also provide zinc, a key mineral we discussed earlier that supports testosterone production and protects the glands that regulate male hormones. One of my patients, Harold, 66, had been taking a low-dose blood pressure medication for years. It worked, but came with fatigue, occasional dizziness, and a drop in libido. We added cashews to his daily plan, along with movement and hydration. 3 weeks later, he didn't just feel better. His doctor reduced his medication, and Harold told me, "I finally feel like I'm not fighting my own body." Today, eat your cashews in the afternoon, maybe with a few apple slices or some herbal tea. Let this be your reminder. Circulation isn't just about arteries. It's about pressure, balance, and the quiet minerals that keep your system steady from the inside out. Day 6, hazelnuts, guarding the highways of passion. If your arteries are highways, then hazelnuts are the maintenance crew. By day 6, your body has started to reawaken. Blood flow is moving more freely. Hormones are responding. But there's one more thing to protect: the lining of your arteries, the thin inner surface that keeps blood moving smoothly. This is where hazelnuts shine. They're rich in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that shields your arteries from oxidative damage, the kind of slow breakdown that leads to stiffness, plaque, and low responsiveness. Hazelnuts also contain heart-healthy fats that keep cholesterol in check and blood vessels flexible, which is exactly what you need to keep performance strong. I remember one man, David, 70 years old, who added hazelnuts to his afternoon snack every day for a month. His words still echo in my mind. It's like my body remembered how to feel again. For him, it wasn't just physical performance. It was sensation, confidence, emotional closeness with his partner, all coming back slowly but surely. Today, grab a small handful of hazelnuts, about 8 to 10. You can add them to a smoothie, blend them into a spread, or eat them plain, but eat them with purpose, knowing they're helping protect the roads your blood travels on, and that those roads lead exactly where you want them to. Day 7, peanuts, the everyday ally. You forgot to respect day 7 isn't flashy. It's not a rare nut. It doesn't cost much, but it's one of the most powerful and most underestimated tools in your circulation toolkit. Peanuts. Why? Because peanuts contain resveratrol, the same compound found in red wine that improves nitric oxide production, widens blood vessels, and protects your heart and pelvis alike. Resveratrol works as a booster, helping your body use the nitric oxide it's already building from the previous 6 days. Peanuts are also widely available, affordable, and easy to incorporate daily, which makes them perfect for sustainability, because the best plan is the one you actually stick to. One man in my clinic, Greg, age 63, was overwhelmed by complicated diets and supplement regimens. He told me, "I need something simple, something I won't quit." We started him with just this, a small handful of peanuts in the afternoon every single day. It gave him momentum. A week later, he added almonds, then walnuts. A month in, his blood work improved. But more importantly, so did his hope. So today, end your 7-day nut boost plan with something humble. A handful of peanuts, maybe with a square of dark chocolate. A reminder that healing doesn't have to be exotic. Sometimes it starts with what's already in your pantry and what you choose to do with it. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is 68 years old. Retired from a career in accounting, he had lived most of his life by the numbers. Logical, methodical, disciplined, but no spreadsheet had prepared him for the changes he began feeling in his body after turning 65. At first, it was subtle. He noticed his morning erections were fading. Then came the low energy, a heaviness in his legs, a slower pace. But the hardest part wasn't physical. It was emotional. He told me in our first session, "I just feel invisible." Robert wasn't sick. His labs were decent, but he didn't feel like a man anymore, not in the way he used to. His confidence was fading. His relationship with his wife had grown quiet. And even though she didn't say anything, he sensed her worry, her distance. That, he said, was the worst part. He had tried the usual routes, a prescription here, a supplement there, but nothing really helped, at least not in a way that felt sustainable. "I want to feel like myself again," he told me, "not like a broken version being patched up by pills." So I introduced him to the 7-day nut boost plan. At first, he looked skeptical. "Nuts?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. I smiled. Yes, not as a snack, but as a system. One small shift each day, designed to support exactly what your body is missing. We built a simple daily rhythm. Walnuts with his breakfast on Monday, almonds mid-morning on Tuesday, pistachios as an afternoon snack by Wednesday, a Brazil nut with tea on Thursday, and so on. Nothing extreme, nothing overwhelming, just one change per day. By day 4, he said his energy was steadier. By day 6, he noticed he was sleeping deeper, waking with a sense of clarity he hadn't felt in years. But it was day 7 that stayed with him, and with me. That morning, he told me, he woke up before his alarm, not groggy, not achy, just awake, present, alive. He got out of bed, made coffee, walked outside to check the mail, something he hadn't done in weeks without dragging his feet. And when he returned inside, his wife looked at him with a smile and said, "There you are." He teared up when he told me that. Not because he had fixed everything, not because he was suddenly 25 again, but because for the first time in years, he felt like himself. Not just a man aging quietly, but a man with energy, warmth, and presence again. Robert still eats his daily nuts. He still follows the rhythm. And now he shares the plan with other men in his church group. This wasn't about snacks, he told me. It was about remembering I'm not done yet. And neither are you. You've seen the steps. You've heard Robert's story. But maybe a part of you is still wondering, how can something as ordinary as a handful of nuts make such a difference? Let's break that down. Without complicated terms, without textbooks, just real biology explained like a trusted friend would. Imagine your blood vessels like garden hoses. When you were younger, they were flexible, open, and smooth inside. Water, or in your case, blood, could rush through without resistance. But as you age, those hoses stiffen. The inner lining cracks, builds up plaque, and becomes narrow. That's why blood doesn't flow the way it used to, especially to sensitive areas like your pelvis. And that's exactly where the first key nutrient comes in, L-arginine. It's found abundantly in walnuts and pistachios, and it's used by your body to make something called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the magic relax signal for your blood vessels. It tells them to open up, to let the blood in, especially where it matters most for a healthy erection. Without enough nitric oxide, those vessels stay tight. Blood can't enter, and intimacy becomes a struggle, even if the desire is there. Now here's where it gets more interesting. As men age, the natural production of nitric oxide plummets, sometimes by 50% or more. That's why foods that boost nitric oxide, like the right nuts, matter more than ever after 60. You're not just topping off your tank, you're restoring the signal system your body has relied on for decades. But blood flow isn't the whole story. There's also the matter of testosterone, the quiet engine behind your energy, confidence, focus, and drive. You may not notice when it begins to drop. It doesn't always show up as low libido. Sometimes it shows up as losing interest, feeling foggy, sleeping poorly, or just not feeling like yourself. Now your body wants to produce testosterone. It just needs the raw materials: zinc, magnesium, selenium, all critical ingredients. Where do you find them naturally? Almonds, cashews, Brazil nuts. These nuts don't force your body to produce testosterone the way a drug would. Instead, they nourish the glands that make it, particularly your testes and pituitary system. It's like giving the engine a fresh oil change, a clean filter, and proper fuel, instead of hitting the gas on an empty tank. There's one more piece, and it's the one most men never think about: inflammation. When your body is under stress, from processed foods, poor sleep, or long-term tension, it builds up low-grade inflammation. You don't see it, you don't always feel it, but it silently damages the lining of your blood vessels, makes them rigid, slows down repair. That's when circulation drops. That's when you start to feel off. But nature built an antidote into food: antioxidants. Pecans, hazelnuts, and peanuts contain plant compounds that reduce inflammation and protect your arteries from further damage. They don't just treat symptoms, they shield your system, especially the sensitive network of vessels that control blood flow to your heart, your brain, and your pelvic area. So when you eat these nuts, in the right amounts, in a consistent daily rhythm, here's what's really happening. You're feeding your nitric oxide pathway, you're supporting natural testosterone production, you're calming inflammation and protecting vessel flexibility, and you're giving your body the tools to restore what aging has quietly worn down. It's not magic, it's not hype, it's biology, it's structure. And it works, not because nuts are special, but because your body is. When you understand how your system works, you start to see that vitality isn't gone. It's just waiting to be fed again. And now, you know how. Let me tell you something I've learned after working with thousands of men over the last 2 decades. The ones who succeed. The ones who feel stronger, more alive, more connected again. They're not the ones who do everything perfectly. They're the ones who start small, not with pills, not with pressure, but with quiet decisions repeated over time. A walnut with breakfast, a Brazil nut with tea, a few pistachios instead of chips. That's how it begins. You see, your body doesn't need a grand overhaul. It needs a signal. It needs to hear, "I'm listening again. I haven't given up on you. I'm ready to treat you with care." And when your body gets that message, even from something as simple as a handful of nuts, it responds. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but with subtle shifts. You wake up with a little more clarity. Your legs feel just a bit lighter. You smile more often, and you're not sure why. You sit next to your partner and something feels different, closer. That's how healing works. It's not always loud, but it's real. And if you've been feeling like it's too late, too much time has passed. Too many mistakes, too many missed chances. Let me say this clearly. It is not too late. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't aged out of strength or vitality or connection. You're still here, still breathing, still capable of surprising yourself. I've seen men at 72 start this plan and rediscover morning wood after a decade. I've seen marriages reignite over a shared bowl of nuts and yogurt in the morning. I've seen the quiet look in a man's eyes when he tells me, "I thought I was finished, but I'm not." You don't need to do everything. You just need to begin. One small choice. Repeated. That's all. Let this plan be your nudge. Let today be your first yes. Not for perfection, but for momentum. Your body still remembers how to heal. Your heart still knows how to beat strong. And your life, it still has chapters worth writing. All it takes is that first step. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring about your body, your strength, your future, for giving your attention, even just a few minutes, to the idea that something inside you is still worth restoring. Because it is. Too many men your age have stopped listening to their bodies. They've stopped believing in change. They've settled into silence, into symptoms, into a kind of quiet resignation. But not you. You showed up. You stayed. And that means something. Now I want to hear from you. If this video spoke to you, even in a small way, leave a comment below. Type, "I'm starting today," if you're ready to take that first step. Or share your story, your struggle, your hope. Because someone else reading might be where you were. Your words could be the reason another man doesn't give up. And if you're not ready yet, that's okay too. You're still here. You're still listening. And that's enough for now. If this message helped you, even just a little, feel free to give it a like or share it with someone who might need it. A brother, a friend, a husband. Sometimes the quietest gestures create the biggest ripples. And if you'd like more science-based, no-shame conversations like this one, you can subscribe. No pressure, no noise, just honest tools to help you feel strong again. Next week, we'll explore what happens when testosterone drops too low and the early signs most men miss. So stay tuned. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Be consistent, not perfect. And remember, it's not about going back to who you were. It's about stepping into who you still are. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning again.